the let me know. I'm Regina Jones, and I'm the client.
I'm Jane Nyanchoga, and I'm the counselor. So, good afternoon, Regina.
Good afternoon.
What brings you here today?
Well, I'm feeling, I think, a little frustrated right now. I teach 3rd grade, which I love teaching. I love education. But I'm just trying to prepare myself for when I'm ready to do something different and not be in the classroom. I just finished my master's for educational administration. Not really looking to be a principal or AP. I might take that position if it became available. But so I've always loved counseling and wanting to help. So I'm really trying to really find my niche for the next level in my life when I get there.
So you feel frustrated because you want to take another field in your life? Or?
Yes, but I don't. I'm the type of person, I don't want to do too much. I love being purposeful. My life has to be purposeful. It has to be about purpose. Every degree I've gotten, which I would like to work on my PhD at this time, because I would have a bachelor's and a master's. But it has to have a purpose in my life where I'm actually doing good, giving back to society. So I did have a little anxiety and stress about knowing exactly where to take the counseling. Whether do I want to do clinical or guidance? Where with my personality would I better fit?
So you say you have a master's in educational administration?
Yes.
And you want a little bit more in the other field of counseling?
I do.
Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, I do, and I've always wanted that. And I really, at the time that I went back for my master's in education administration, I was influenced by people, family members. I'm thinking, because I wanted to not just affect my own students in my classroom, but have a larger effect, thinking more globally, just not in my own little bitty, teeny, tiny world. And I was influenced, you'll be a principal, you'll be able to affect more children. But that it kind of takes me away from the scope or the realm that I really want to be in. And as I was saying, I would do an AP position. But that's just, more of really administrative things. You do a lot of discipline, those types of things, and people think with my personality that would fit me. But lately I've been thinking a lot about guidance counseling, turning this into that, as long as I'm giving back to the community, to people.
So you feel like you want to do counseling because the course which you did earlier on is like you were influenced by some people? And right now you want to make your own decision about what you want in life?
Yes. I really basically talked myself out of the counseling because I know when we were being interviewed, we have to, look and see where do we need to strengthen ourselves and improve on ourselves. And one of my things is I'm real patient with kids and students, but sometimes I am not so patient with adults. And what I mean by that sometimes is when you're trying to assist and help, you want to see growth. You want to see that improvement that they want for themselves, not even what you want for them, but what they want. Whatever their goals are, you want to help them reach those goals. And sometimes when they seem to veer off the path and not get to those goals, I think I would just get a little like, okay, you're veering off the path of where you said you wanted to go with this. And so that was one thing that I said, well, that I'm not going to be good for counseling then. But I had to take a step back and say, well, no, I just need to improve on that. But I also need to find my niche in the counseling, because there's different areas to go into where it fits and where I can really truly help.
Okay.
So I've been thinking a lot about that.
Okay, so you feel frustrated that you're not really touching the young kids, and now you want to take your time in counseling. and I don't know, you want to counsel the adults. Can you explain to me a little bit more how you're going to do this counseling?
Well, that's just what I've been thinking about. I think I love working with the kids and educating them, and I'm effective in that way. But sometimes, and then as a teacher, you become a counselor, you become all kinds of things to the children because they're with you so long. And sometimes I have to counsel in the classroom with the kids, to get them to respond academically. I have to first respond to what they need emotionally, or maybe they're hungry or whatever, and I have to listen to what problems they have before they can be educated, because we all know that if you have problems at home, that's on your mind, or if you're not eating, those kinds of things are on your mind, which that counseling part of me always understands that if I want them to perform academically, I've got to meet them where their needs need to be met. But then so many times you do that, and then they go back home to the same environment. And so and you can send them to the counselor at school and all that, but I think their parents, need counseling, parenting classes, those kinds of things, so that when we're helping to change these kids' lives, they're not just continuing in the same environment, that there's somebody that's helping them also. And then, like at our school, we have like one class that's taught parents as teachers, and if I were in school counseling, we could begin to do some parenting classes, some other classes for their parents, to help them help their kids. But first they need to be helped also.
So you feel like you're not meeting your objectives in counseling only the children, and you would like to include the parents?
Yes.
In the process of counseling. Can you tell me more what you are going to do to make it successful?
Well, I'm still figuring that out, and I think I have some time to figure that out. See what kind of programs can be implemented in school settings, or whether I know those kinds of things can be done. Whether you get grants or different things like that to help you foster those type of classes or sessions for your parents, because that's a part of even like, the parents are a part of their kids' education. But sometimes it's difficult when they have their own stresses. So if we have those types of things in schools, or not just in schools, because the kids can get counseling, but if the parents aren't getting it, it sometimes defeats the purpose, because the kid is going right back home into the same environment, into the same climate. So I'm just kind of, as I take these classes, thinking about that and letting God be my guide on those kinds of things, because I'm spiritual when it comes to those things. And and when the time comes, and if I keep going it, taking the classes and improving up on myself, and it'll come what I need to do, about that. Then another thing I want to share, so I'm a newlywed. I was married last year on March 12th, so my first anniversary is coming up. But I've been a single mother for, I'm 42, so I've basically raised my kids as a single mother. And so I'm adapting to being a newlywed. With all that going on, I just kind of felt like I had a lot going on at one time. It was all good stuff. Even, finishing up my master's, that was a good thing. It'll be utilized in some way. I know that because, I like, my life is really purpose-driven. So it wasn't for naught. It wasn't for a waste. And I know that this will turn out to be, for good use as well. And then being married, I've been having to adapt to that. And I have one son who's 21 who's finding his way. And then I have a son that's 18 that he's about to graduate this year. So it's a lot. And I think I'm starting to be able to breathe now. And I think these classes are actually helping me to do that.
So you feel like you have a lot ahead of you, like the counseling program, and then you are newly married, and you have a son who is trying to come up in life. So can you tell me more on how are you going to balance between this counseling and the family and the bringing up of your children? Can you explain a little bit more?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do now. I do a lot of journaling. I've journaled since I was about third, fourth grade. I began to journal to help deal with the things that I was going through at that time in my life. And so that's just kind of something I've carried in my life is I do a lot of journaling, letting my emotions out and my plans out and putting it on paper and going back and reviewing those things and seeing how I've grown or how I've changed. But then also realizing when my responsibility ends, like with my 21-year-old. He's an adult. Well, they both are now, per the age, you're an adult. But my youngest son, he's 18. He's still at home because he's still in high school. So basically, just getting him off to college. And I'm having to stay on him about getting his essays done. But like with my 21-year-old, he recently moved out. And so I just want to continue to foster, emotional support, if he needs someone to talk to, those kinds of things, while he learns to, financially support himself and deal with those. I'm learning how to balance that by realizing what responsibilities are still mine and what responsibilities are no longer mine. In my 21-year-old, I feel like he's my son, but no longer my responsibility because he's an adult. Doesn't mean I will never be there for him or, those kinds of things. But surely he has my love and my support. But pulling back where it's not pulling so much away from me where I can accomplish everything else as being a newlywed and still being a mom to the baby that's got to, go to college with those fears because he's having anxiety. He's having anxiety to the point of where he's afraid, am I going to get into college? And he's been an straight A, B student his entire educational career. So he just, like I spoke to him the other day, he says, well, I'm just nervous, that I'm just nervous. And I think it's not just nervous because he'll get in. I mean, he has the good GPA. He's a very academic student, so he'll get in. But I think it's considering moving away from home, having to be out on his own in college, and mom is not right there because he's considering going to College Station, Texas A&M, which is about 3.5 hours away. So, because I took him there back in October, they were scouting him for football, so we went and visited, and I think that's some of his anxiety, I think.
So you feel anxious about your marriage, your new marriage, and your responsibility as a mother. You feel like the marriage, is it in any way interfering in the way you've been running your family?
I don't think it's interfering because basically it's just been me and my kids, for a long time. But they took to him, when I introduced him to my kids, they automatically took to him, and he's been very good for them. It's just been different trying to make sure that they know that I still love them and here for them, but now we've added someone else that cares for you too and does as much support, and I have to go and talk with my kids, about life and things and in general with them and things that they need to talk to me about. And he does that too, so he took right to that as well. I just wanted to make sure that I guess I'm whole and good for me, for my husband, and still for my kids, even though that relationship is changing because they're growing up and coming into their own in a way.
So you feel your husband has provided the necessary support that you need to bring up your children and for your son?
I do feel like, yes, because he's very supportive. It's amazing how supportive he is, for them not being his own. And, that's a good thing. And they see that. I guess I've just been, I'm not a perfectionist because I've grown up to realize there's no such thing in this world as being perfect. But wanting to make sure that everyone gets what they need when they need it.
Thank you so much, Regina. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ooh.